Okay. All right. Well, I apologize for my tardiness. Wouldn't you know? Exactly at 6 o'clock, my physician decided to call me. So, hold on. I'm gonna go grab my phone while I'm waiting for a second for it to alert people. Misconcepts. Yeah. So this is my first time on this platform in a minute, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I have to get on another platform. Those that are can see it now or the replay of it. But for let's get started. So, who am I? For those that do not know who I am Arike Michelle. And hold on a second. Like, where did I go? I just minimized my screen. Okay, there I am. There's my StreamYard. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this right panel view. It's been a second since I've been on. Um, let's see. I'm trying to get to my notes screen. That's not it. Okay. Hmm. Okay, that's better. Got a little bit of progress with my screens now to where I'm comfortable. All right. All right. Well, welcome. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody will be doing well. Tonight is my first night coming out and just sharing about the vision. What is this Arike's vision? Who is Arike? I am Arike. And I guess I should start from the beginning. As a young girl, 8 or 9 years old, my ear was opened and I seen a vision in my dreams. And it was so real, it was so realistic that it was something that I knew was real. And all throughout my life, through this journey of trying to figure out who I am and trying to figure out the spiritual side of me that nobody else in my family or uh, relationships or things that I would be attached to would seemingly understand why, or especially when I was younger, because I was a mess when I was younger, but I still had this vision that kept this spiritual side of me, which always would pull me back from the mess I would find myself in. But after years, and I do mean years of searching and sitting at the feet of many different people and gleaning from many different places, I've come to, I don't know, I've come to realize that We have more similarities than we have differences. And I've come to realize after all these years of searching and seeking and holding on to this vision that I'm at this place now that the vision is coming to pass. That vision of being at a river with a multitude of brothers and sisters in the healing, in the breaking, in the unity that comes from it is so profound and so needed. It's so needed. And the only ones that can truly, truly empathize and grieve with and cry with and understand and travail with is our brothers and sisters. Understand that the one thing that African Americans, Moors, Hebrew Israelites, you know, whatever you want to name, whatever you want to title, it's a people, those of us who are here that have said, you know what, we're going to take off this Western mindset and we're going to dig back into who we really are. Who is my ancestor? Where did I hail? What is in the blood in my veins? And those of us that have done that, and those of us who begin to study, my Kemetic brothers and sisters, and in the studying that each of my brothers and my sisters that I know do, the one thing that I have come to realize is we have more in common than we do apart. And so I come and I appeal to the righteous, not by label and not by title, because there are many people that title themselves or label themselves, or we label or we title people whose character doesn't line up with what we understand as righteous. So I'm calling for a week, a retreat like one you've never been to before. And I'm calling for those that understand, those peculiar ones, those ones that have been searching and understand and are solid with what they believe, and know that they can still love their brother and sister and walk alongside their brother and sister, because there's a healing that we need as a people to be able to come forth and be able to look at my brother and to look at my sister eye to eye and say, it's okay. And I release you. I will not draw my sword upon you. It's okay. Because when it comes to the spirit of righteousness, it's either you have the spirit of righteousness or you don't. There's not all these different types of spirits and ways. It's either you have that spirit of consciousness, of righteousness. You have, it's on your mind. You think about it, the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you conduct, you want your family to conduct themselves. Or for many of us, we are the only ones in our family who are studying or who are walking spiritually first. But I come to you because I want us to discern the time, my brothers and sisters. It's not time for debating because that's not getting us nowhere. As we continue to debate one another, trying to recolonize one another into our beliefs, thinking that we are the only, when it is very evident that we are not the only, we are not monolithic. And so it is time now, when you look at society, when you look at what's going on in the climate of today, where they are literally selling survival kits and survival information and telling you to be ready, the grid's going down, and telling you that, the economy is not going to look too well once bricks and everything actually hits. And I'm going to tell you something for those who are spiritual. It's none of our business. We should be preparing. And so that's what this is about. It's about not just the retreat, it's about coming together. Because this time next year, this week next year, we would have been on our third day of our retreat. So it's one full year to prepare, to come together, to speak about things that I'm not going to speak about here, because it's not for everybody's business. But it is for us to come together collectively and do what we know needs to be done to stop the foolishness. And so that we no longer have to subject ourselves or our families to the nonsense of this perpetual this perpetual wheel of injustice that we have been on since they have brought us over. The perpetual wheel, the intergenerational trauma from the time that those who believe that we were brought over and those that believe they were indigenous, either way, they took, they killed, they destroyed, they slaughtered. Either way, we are all dealing from post-traumatic slave disorder. And understanding what that means, understanding what that intergenerational trauma and how it manifests itself in the different forms of not only external racism, but internalized racism of low self-esteem and that feeling of always being powerless, that we can't do anything together, that we can't work together. This didn't just happen. Our community didn't just destroy itself. But we are deeply rooted in justices that are historical, that have never been made amends for. And so until we get to this level of healing that they cannot give us, and we do not need permission to have, what we need is the ability to see one another and to say that it's okay, to take the shackles off one another, to stop debating and just talking and debating. Meanwhile, we are being slaughtered. Meanwhile, our children are being slaughtered. Meanwhile, the true demon and the true evilness is running havoc. When do we say enough is enough? When do we, who know better, who know that there's a standard, there's a standard when it comes to truly walking in a spirit of righteousness. And so I want to talk to those women who are studying diligently, whatever it is that you might believe, but not just study, but walking it out. Those sisters who are true sisters, those sisters who don't gossip, those sisters who are true sisters that understand love, that understand character, those sisters that know how to take care of their husband if they're married, and take care of their children, take care of their life partners. I want to talk to the brothers that know who they are. I want to talk to the brothers that know that they're kings and they walk in upright in the right character and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It is time out. It is time out for the tearing of apartness, but it is definitely a time for us to use our resilience, for us to use our all that, that gusto that we have, all of that energy that we have, all of that celebration that we have in knowing that we have broke through the matrix, and bring it together strategically and mobilize and begin to set up the community that we know that we deserve to be in. It's really that simple. It's really that simple, but where does it start? It starts with us that can hear, us that are secure in who we are in our path and can say that that's my brother over there, that's my sister over there. Your husband's safe with me, your wife's safe with me, your children are safe with me, my children and my wife, my husband, my family is safe with you. Let's go build. Let's go buy some land. Let's stop depending on these people. And let's stop asking permission. Let's remember who we are. Because if we remember who we are, there were kingdoms. There wasn't just one kingdom. And that's how we got sold in the first place, because there were many different kingdoms, but we did not see each other as brother and sister. So when the oppressors came, when the colonizers came, whether it been to our indigenous brothers and sisters or whether it been over across the Middle Passage and the Atlantic slave trade, and to my brothers and sisters that went to the Caribbean and all over. It's a call to say that we need to remember that there were many kingdoms, but Sankofa, let's look back and let's take the good and let's leave the bad. We have been fighting this fight long enough. We have been fighting this fight long enough. The sister who's walking alongside of you that has her head wrapped, and the other sister who might just have her hair in her natural. And we're looking at all the wrong things and we're trying to put my kingdom, I'm trying to put the rules of my kingdom on you when it doesn't fit. And so we fight and we debate and we fight. And where are we going? Where are we going? Nowhere. This is where we going? Nowhere. You can't go nowhere like that. fighting and debating. But if we come together and understand that it's okay, we can do a whole lot more. We can do a whole lot more. We get focused, bring our gifts together, build, no longer hoard the information that we need to develop what we need to develop and build. Understanding that we've had to fight our whole existence, generation after generation after generation. This political stuff, we've been doing this for generation after generation after generation after generation. All I'm saying is we don't have to ask for permission. We come from kings and queens, indigenous kings and queens and tribes that spoke differently. If we could understand that every day we interact with dark forces and people that are not living righteous every day, and we build with them every day, and we help them make their money every day, because we are thinking that, we have to still survive. But when you get to this place of knowing, and I say, it's time. It's simply time to be able to sit with you and share and break bread and to seek to understand how systematically the only way to break and destroy is not about what the majority is doing. It's not about what the majority is doing. This call is not for the majority. This call is for those that have been resilient, those that understand the struggle and understand the struggle of our ancestors, and understand that we have not got to the finish line because we are still mentally enslaved. When we continue to put our hand out to those whose ancestors, in the fact that they have passed laws for everybody except us, still, from the time that I was born in 1968 when they assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., what have I seen? What progress have I really seen in politics? And why are we still begging? I have grandchildren now, and the police are still offing us. We're still asking for the same things. I tell people, go to YouTube and go back to some of the reasons why we were marching. Go back and see what we were asking for. And if you close your eyes, you would not realize that we were actually not in the 1960s or the 1950s. And now yet in America, they're trying to bring those things back. Where you have a man running for president talking about, I will give the police full immunity. Well, let's go back and understand, where did the police force come from in the first place? It was the old slave patrol. But we have got lackadaisy. But those of us that are awake, those of us that understand righteousness and understand what is going on and has removed ourselves from the matrix, it is now time to do more with that knowledge than debate one another. It is time to do more with that knowledge than to demonize one another. In the meantime, while we're doing this, we can't even sit down with our families because the Black family is dysfunctional for the most part all across the United States. Show me a healthy Black family that sits down and eats together, has conversations like it was back in the day. It's not existing. Our children are becoming little droids. No social skills, locked in rooms, virtual everything, no outside, no time to be with nature, because that's the divinity's plan. Divinity's plan is that we sit and look at the birds and appreciate the river, and we rest and we're disconnected. So if the righteous are disconnected, and if those that are righteous and are out of the matrix are disconnected and they're wasting their time on the debating and the still trying to get a title and all these surface level things. So what do we need to be doing? What could we possibly doing right now? We need to heal. It's that simple. It's the one thing that we have never had the chance to just do is to heal. Because after slavery, it was the Jim Crow. After Jim Crow, it was the burning and dropping bombs and the redlining and the police brutality and the injustices. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. But yet we're supposed to function. And not only do we continually have to deal with trauma in our community, but we have to deal with a world system that purposely projects music, movies, in all this sports, all of it, to distract us, to make us think that we're doing okay. And in the meantime, the majority of people, African Americans, are still suffering from the crack addiction. They're still suffering from HIV. Right now, Black women, young women, are catching HIV 15 times faster and more than any other culture out there. See, COVID came and we forgot about all these issues. I thank you, Aya from Ashe RA community that I seen, and she was bringing the statistics out on last Sunday about what happened to that pandemic, and the fact that we are still in Black men are at a high 8% higher rate. The younger generation. All these things are going on. So we don't have time to continue to bicker and to fight. It's time for us to stand up. It's time for us to unite. It's time for us to come together and be the healing and give the healing and surrender to the healing together and to give each other permission to heal. to give each other permission to be exactly who you are. See, I know young women that have, walked out several different, the sided in Christianity, went to Hebrewism, and then it went to becoming Moorish, and that's where she bloomed. I know others that were 7 Day Adventists, or not 7 Day Adventists, Jehovah Witnesses, and the Mormons, and they've came out, and then they've gone back to their roots. So I know those are Moorish, and those are Hebrew, and those, and I see all of these, and those that are Kemetic, and I know all these young women. And I start to say to myself, oh my gosh, they don't know that they're all coming to me for counseling, and they don't know that they're all coming to me. But I'm looking and I'm hearing the same issues that we're dealing with. And when I look at their character, I see the same character of righteousness. But when I look online, all I see is this. No, you can't this. No, you can't that. No, you're disobeying. No, that's sin. No, this. Whoa. Not saying that the girls that I know, they don't do that. But I'm saying when I come online, in others that I see, it's the bickering back and forth. The women are bickering back and forth. The men are bickering back and forth. People are slapping each other on the head and calling each other out. And that's not love. And it's not out of concern, it's out of ego. Most of the time that I see. Because if it was out of concern, you would approach your brother or sister in love. But then we use our belief system to back our harshness instead of coming back and saying, we don't really know, but I see your character, and your character reflects a lot of how I conduct myself and how I conduct my household and my family. And so, we can come together. And let's strategize. And matter of fact, I like to share with you some of these things that I know about cultivating the land. And brother, and I like to tell you some of the things that I know about how we become sovereign, or how we acquire these things. And hey, brother, and sister, I got electrical, and hey, brother and sister, I have, agriculture, I got engineering, and I got solar, and coming together and allowing each other to be free. So there's nobody having to hold their head down. There's nobody having to feel ashamed. For the first time in our lives, for the first time in our history, and since we were brought over here, that we will stop for 1 week, that we'll actually prepare so that when we get there for that 1 week, that there's an expectation of what's going to happen at the river. And if you think about it, something always happened miraculously at the rivers. No matter which story or what your tribe adheres to, there's something powerful about being at the river. It's time for us to understand that our healing's not coming out of their books. Our healing's not coming out of their laws, their policies. Our healing's not coming from there. What broke us cannot fix us, especially when what broke us still has its tentacles, all up and through right now, trying to tear down everything, get rid of affirmative action, get rid of Black colleges, get rid of funding, get rid of Black history, get rid of. We haven't even got to the place where we could breathe. So equality, it's an illusion of inclusion, and we are too smart for it now. It is time out for it now. It is time for us to come together, those that know. Let the masses do what the masses want to do. But we must come together. I want to talk to you. Are you sitting by yourself? Have you been on this spiritual journey, this transformation, and it seems like it's pulled you away from everybody that you know? Ain't nobody riding, like, ain't nobody going to the deep, just you. Maybe it's for such a time as now. I'm not here to teach no doctrine, and no doctrine will be taught at this retreat. This is about reconnecting, hearing, and preparing, purifying ourselves. This is not for the faint at heart. This is not for the one that just want to come and be nosy. Because there's things that we need to talk about and discuss before the retreat. This isn't just about, hey, let's meet next year. No, there's a reason why we have a year to prepare. We have a year to prepare. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for being with me this evening. I'll be back on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Again, my name is Arike. I am calling to the righteous, 1,000 righteous from across the country, those that understand the season and that we're in, those that are absolutely tired of watching us go in the circle and hitting our wall, hitting our head on the pole and plumbing it down, getting back up again, going, hitting the wall, plumbing it down. We're tired. It is time for us to not ask permission. They're not going to move the pole ever. We must realign ourselves. Understand who we are. See, we here asking for permission. We here asking for permission, hitting the wall, hitting the wall, hitting the wall for decades. What are we missing? What is it that we have not done? We've marched, we've set things on fire, we've sat things out, we've marched, we've set things on fire, we have marched, we have set things on fire. And then it goes right back. We die down and it goes right back until they do something so bluntly ignorant, like kill us again, and then we march. Come on, y'all. Come on. What have we not done? Because some of us have become worse to each other than the white man treats us today. Some of us in our community, and I'm talking the spiritual community, the so called spiritual community, have done more hurt and pain to each other that have to take a brother or sister that says, you know what, maybe I was out there wilding my whole life and I went to prison and I found Allah and I came home and I was riding high and I'm going with it. That's like, you don't lie, and I go to share my excitement. Here come a Hebrew brother telling me this ain't it. You ain't this and you ain't that and whoa and da 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 da. In now where I was happy and I was on my path, my brother's now shooting at me, which now makes me now have to clap back. And it puts us right back in position. Can I see that? Sisters, some of these sisters have just finally got out of abusive relationships and they're sitting with their sisters at the temple or at the mosque or in the congregation. And then they come and they want to share something. And next thing you know, sisters are jumping down their throat and telling them what they are and what they're not and what they are and what they're not. And it makes you rise back up again in defense. It's time to allow each other to heal. And those that understand will come out. And it's going to be a beautiful, 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 beautiful time. It is going to be a beautiful time. And hearts are going to be replenished and rejuvenated. Weights are going to be falling off. Shackles are going to be falling off. Literally, spiritual shackles. And just to be able to be amongst my brothers and sisters. No shooting, just healing. No debating, just healing. Weeping and singing and preparing. And that week should be a week of celebration. That should be a week of celebration. So let's get together. Let's read some books together. Let's read some books together. Let's prepare. Let's read some or revisit some of the things that our forefathers in this country. Let's go back. Let's remember the strength, the resilience, the intelligence, the wisdom. They were the ones that built all of our Black economics. While we're so busy running around looking at the white man and his blueprint for everything, our forefathers built Black Wall Street. We had and built it a few times. And how did they do that? And let's look at how they did that. Let's look strategically what had to be in place in order for that to happen. And you can't do that if we're shooting at each other. We must learn from our past mistakes. Use the wisdom that we have today. Do better and get the hell out of Dodge. It is time. It is time. I look forward to speaking with y'all again on Thursdays. I am going to be consistent, and we're doing this. Absolutely doing this. See y'all on Thursday at 6 o'clock. You can catch me at TikTok at 7, and you can also catch me on Clubhouse at 11:30 on Sundays. You know what I always say, be good to each other from my heart to yours. Have a wonderful evening.